Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today we will be discussing the second part of the advertising design, which is focused on the message strategies and the executional frameworks. As far as the learning objectives are concerned, I have provided you certain links. The very first one is pasted on the very first slide, which will give you more deeper insight of the different types of message strategies. As far as the execution frameworks are concerned, I have embedded different links of the TVCs from the YouTube for the examples of each executional framework. So by clicking them, you will be able to relate the theory of the execution frameworks with the practical examples in the Pakistani media. So let's start with the message strategies. So mainly there are four types of message strategies which we use in the advertising design. The first three are cognitive, affective, and cognitive, and they are named because they are specifically intended to target the attitudinal component of the consumer audience. As we have already discussed these different components of the attitude as cognitive, affective, and cognitive. So these strategies are also named as they are supposed to target or hit the cognitive, affective, and cognitive component of the attitude. The fourth type is the brand message strategies, which are in fact more focused on projecting the brand, the user of the brand, the usages, and so on, right? So we start with the message strategies which have been classified as cognitive. Why they are termed as cognitive? Because it provides straightaway rationale, facts, or arguments. In other words, it straightaway provides the benefits, the attributes, and the characteristics of the products or services we are going to advertise. There are further 5 types of cognitive message strategy. One is termed as generic, preemptive, unique selling proposition, hyperbole, and comparative advertising messages. Keep it in mind as they are the subpart of the cognitive message strategies, so there are very thin lines between the subtype of the cognitive message strategy. Like in generic message strategy, we straight away come up with telling or presenting the facts, the attributes, the benefits of the product in a very straight manner without claiming any superiority or without having a comparison with the other brands. As far as preemptive cognitive message strategy is concerned, again we present the same facts and figures, or we can say the rationale and argument, the selling propositions or the benefits, but our approach in this type of message strategy is preemptive. Preemptive means to do something before anybody else do it. What does it mean in advertising? It means that we claim something before anybody else make that claim or certain claims like this. So we try our level best to be the first one to have that advantage of providing a certain selling benefit or proposition to the consumer. As far as unique selling proposition is concerned, you must be thinking that what would be the difference between preemptive and unique selling propositions. In unique selling proposition, we come up with a unique selling benefit projected to the consumer audience but we do not have any approach of having a preemption. I mean to say that we do not claim to be the first one कि जनाब पाकिस्तान का सबसे पहला ब्ला 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 और जनाब जो खुश्की को दूर करे और जो ऐसा करे और जो ऐसा करे. So we actually project our unique selling proposition. Unique means distinctive. It does not mean different. It means the distinctive selling benefit to the consumers. So we do not intend to have preemption. But keep it in mind, whenever we use unique selling proposition, we must be having a certain claim which is testable, or it can be testified by any means or through some source or some characteristics or attributes of the product itself. When it comes to hyperbola messages are untestable claims, or you can say sometimes the advertisers do come up with a bit exaggerations, but those exaggerations are not in specific terms or in specific attributes or the benefits, rather they are general. So they are not suable, or accordingly you can say they cannot be lawfully testified. When it comes to comparative type of advertising messages, comparative advertising messages compares the benefits of one brand with the benefits of the other brand. Here I would make it very clear to you people that an ad may be emotional advertisement, or may be having a sexual appeal, or it may be having another type of executional framework or appeal, but the message itself may be comparative. So we do not refer the comparative message strategies to comparative advertising. When we say comparative advertising, we do mean that the appeal, execution framework and the message, all that was comparative. When it comes to comparative message strategies only, so the message only compares the products or the brands. The next message strategy is targeted to the affective component of the attitude of the consumer audience, is it needs or it requires to create affection between the brand and the consumer. It needs or it requires to elicit the emotions of the consumer audience. So that is why it is termed as affective message strategies. Let's have a deep look of the sub message strategies in affective message strategies. They can be of two types. One is termed as resonance and the other one is termed as emotional. The resonance affective message strategies are those affective strategies which are focused on creating resonance between the brand and the consumers. By resonance we mean a strong relationship between the consumer audience and the brand. It may be somewhat through using certain emotions, but the purpose is the creation of the relationship between the consumer audience and the brand with the past experiences. And the emotional affective message strategies are focused to create or elicit emotions of the consumer audience. In other words, we can say that it is more like a hard strategy which is targeted to the softer part of the attitude in order to create certain emotions. Let me give you an example. The master molding form Meri Nanni Kali Ne Gar Ko Chali series. If we see in this, we can have the affective message strategies, or both the subtypes of the affective message strategies, which is actually the resonance and the emotional. When the girl says Papa Johnny, and we realize that he is actually now the grandfather of the girl or the lady, it is resonance कि नस्ल दर नस्ल वो चीज चलती आ रही है. But when there is the music appeal and the slogan and the voice overs कि मेरे नन्ही कली नए घर को चली, and the tears in the eyes of the grandfather or the father, elicitation of response is in terms of emotions. So such message would be considered as the emotion-based affective message strategy, and the first one was the resonance-based affective message strategy. The third message strategy is that which is targeted to the third component of the attitude, which is the conative component. Let me tell you that the conative component of the attitude is basically the bridge between the attitude and the behavior. The conative component is the link which triggers the attitude, the behaviors by forming a certain kind of attitude. And it may be action inducing, or it may be based on the promotion support. Keep it in mind when we say it is action inducing. So do the do is in action inducing. Again in painting ad, आप भी डॉर्सर बनिए is again an action inducing when the actors or those who are playing the ad or the television commercial, they do ask you people to perform something. That is actually they are pushing your attitude towards your behavior. So that is termed as action inducing. Sometimes it may be backed by the promotion or incentive support, that we are offering 10% or 20% discount, but ये ऑफर महदूद मुद्दत के लिए है. So this would be termed as the action is induced but backed by certain promotion or incentives, which pushes the consumer's attitude towards the consumer behavior. The fourth, which is the last type of message strategy, is related to the brand. Why it is termed as the brand message strategies? Because the focus of such type of message strategies is the brand, or the usage of the brand, or representing or projecting the users of the brand, or it may be more focused on the image of the corporate or the individual brand. So in fact we have 4 different types of the brand message strategies, which are brand user strategy, brand image strategy, usage, and the corporate strategy. Keep it in mind, when we are supposed to come up or designing the brand user message strategy, our focus is more on the users rather the image of the brand itself or the usage or the corporate brand. When we say that we are more focused on the user, keep it in mind, most of the time we do use endorsements or certain type of spokesperson in order to personify our brand, or in order to resemble the users of our brand with that personality. Keep it in mind, there is a thin line between the brand user strategy and the brand image strategy. As in the brand image message strategies, we are more focused on creating a certain image of the the brand. So most of the time we do personify the brand, and we may be projecting certain associations or certain image of the brand. Why I said there is a thin line? Because sometimes you can say that every brand user strategy is a brand image strategy, but every brand image strategy is not a brand user strategy. Sometimes the brand image may be, you can say that this strategy is more focused on creating secondary or first primary associations, rather secondary associations through endorsements and spokesperson. The brand usage strategy tells or projects the variety of uses of the brand by the consumer audience. So it does provide you the opportunity how that product will be used. This is usually done when the companies need to increase the sales volume as well as the compatibility of situations in which the product can be used. The fourth subtype of the message strategy is the corporate message strategies, which is more focused on projecting the corporate brand or the image of the corporate brand rather the individual brand. And mostly when such type of message strategies are designed, so we used to have the logo of the corporate brand, or as a whole the corporate brand, at the end of the ad or at the start of the ad. But at the end of the ad may increase the recallability of the brand as well as the recognition, as it will be having a bit more prolonged effects on the memory. This is what the research says. It is not my own opinion. So in the next topic we will be moving towards the executional frameworks, inshallah, tomorrow. The videos which I have provided you tells you very elaborately what are these different types, when they will be used, why they are used, so we will be able to achieve our learning objectives through these videos, and a bit short summarize briefing of the message.